And it's the button.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalyst, Southey, Beener, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Hey, we're back. I told you we were going to be back to regular schedule. We were just saying that. I know we said that a couple times, and we didn't. So I don't blame you for not trusting us, but we're back again.
We're back.
Again. And I thought that TikTok was going to turn into a fun, Canadian and maybe European space, like a nice place for hockey to be, popular. But then like 13 hours later, America came back. And I mean, I'm not complaining. It's a huge market, but yeah, I don't know. I thought it'd become a lot more interesting for hockey on TikTok. That's all.
Yeah, joke's on us. TikTok, was banned for how many hours?
Yeah, I think it was
a whole
13.
Day?
It was while we were recording, it was like 11 p.m. And then I think it was about 14 hours. It was 1 o'clock the next day it came back on. But I did notice I posted a thing on our TikTok and it doubled after the Americans came back on in plays. So welcome back, guys. Thanks.
Welcome back. But
Also,
yeah,
speaking of welcome back, I got my ring back. I don't know if you noticed last episode, but I have not had my wedding ring for quite a while because just before we talk about the game, interesting little story. This is like 40 some odd years old. It's been sitting in a drawer for a long time, or had been sitting in a drawer for a long time, safe before that. And it was given to me. It was my cousin's, but he never wore it. So I got it. And I didn't know what to do with it. It didn't fit me. And then when we got engaged, I was like, you know what? I want to get that ring resized and wear that as my wedding ring. And I have been. But the thing they didn't tell me, when you resize an onyx ring, I don't know if you can tell looking at this, but there is a stone that goes end to end in this thing. So they don't tell you, it's not glued in and it's just held in with friction. So when they changed the size of it, it made it loose and it fell out and I lost the stone. So this is actually the second one. So I had to get that redone. First I got it resized. Then I got the stone replaced. So that's 2 repairs on it. Then about 2 months ago, I was putting dishes away and I knocked my knuckle off of a shelf, like putting it in, and I heard something drop and I thought I chipped the plate and it was the stone falling out. So repair number 3. I just got it back. What's today? Monday? I got it back on Saturday. Oh, maybe I was wearing it on Saturday then. So on Saturday I got it, and maybe I went yesterday. Anyway, within like 2 hours, I washed my hands and I was drying them off and the stone dropped onto the floor. So I put it back in myself, but I don't know how long it's going to stay in there. There's a 30-day warranty on the repair on it, but yeah, this thing is just like, I thought it was going to be so much fun, but I might have to get something else.
Okay, with that track record, you need a 30-year warranty. 30-day warranty, holy.
Well, the thing's already over 30 years old, so I think I'm SOL on this one. I might get one that looks similar or get one custom made that looks like this. I don't know. We'll see. But that's my personal story for the day.
I noticed you wearing another ring in the past, but not one with that onyx in it. Or am I just making things up right now? I feel like you wore another one.
I don't think I wore another one.
Okay, maybe I'm making shit up. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't catch the black bling in the center.
The big black stripe through it, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's the record while wearing your ring with the Leafs? Have you been keeping track, or like this is the important facts we want to know now?
I mean, to be fair, I was cheating and I wore it as my own engagement ring, my man engagement ring last year, because I just wanted to wear this ring because I finally got it resized after having it in my possession for like over a decade. So
yeah,
I don't know, whatever the record since the beginning of last season was. I got it in like September of last year.
Okay. Well,
so pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So speaking of feeling pretty good, we love beating the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is like what I was talking about last episode, how, finally Boston, Florida, and Tampa are not on some historic run. They seem very beatable this season. Just looking at the standings here in the Atlantic, the Lightning are third, 25, 17, and 3. So they're a whole 9 points behind the Leafs now. So that's a nice little cushion that we're not used to over the Lightning. Usually it's neck and neck for first place in the Atlantic.
We love to see it all day long. Even John Cooper came out today to the media saying that, this game will tell him where his team's at, because in the beginning of the season where we took the first 2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, he was kind of suggested that there was a top tier of the Atlantic and a bottom tier, and they kind of sat near the bottom. But now at this point of the season, that gap has closed. But John Cooper, think again. We got this one in the bag too, because honestly, coming into tonight, the Leafs were 7-3-0 in their last 10. Tampa Bay 5-4-1. But the stats otherwise aren't even edging the Leafs. Tampa was first overall in goals for and fourth overall in the penalty kill, but the Leafs pretty much edged them in every other factor.
Holy moly. Yeah, looking at the Lightning, they have the most goals in the entire Eastern Conference right now. Still. Is it in the West too?
Still losing.
They're tied with Winnipeg. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And they have a plus 37 goal differential that's only beaten by the Jets plus 52. That's wild. Oh, sorry. Washington, who's at plus 50. Since when are the Capitals first in the Metro? What
Since Logan Thompson existed on their team. I think I saw a stat recently saying out of 50 possible points, he's granted them 46.
That's insane.
Yes, and as a fantasy player against Logan Thompson last week, who got 2 shutouts, that really hurt. Yeah.
No wonder
this guy's been killing it.
Differential.
Exactly. But speaking of goaltenders, tonight we did not see Andrei Vasilevsky. We saw Johansson in net, and kind of surprising, honestly. But hey, love to see it all day long, especially after the first game against the Leafs, where Vasi snowed Rielly in the face during pregame warmup, and then that game he ended up getting pulled after letting 4 goals in on 14 shots.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I happened to be at that game actually, and hell fucking yeah, bud. That was just the sweetest of the sweet spots. You want to snow our boy Mo? Hey man, no can do. You're getting pulled, yoinked. And then our second game against the Lightning there, I believe the Leafs were up 4-0 entering the third period, and Tampa Bay Lightning actually came back with a couple of goals, but Nylander sealed the deal in with an empty netter, and Matthews and Nyes actually putting a couple on the board as well, coming back from injury. So we have a theme with this team, and our first line kind of leads the way, along with Bill Nye, the scoring guy.
Bill Nye's the scoring guy? Is that what we're doing now?
I find myself yelling at the TV, Bill, come on, Bill. But
wait, is that Nyes or who's Bill?
William Nylander.
Okay, well you said
I know it's really confusing, Roscoe, because there's so many nice things going on with this team currently, but this team, man, I don't know. Another notable thing from this season too, actually, the first game, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and getting fined the 5K for that big booty, just a little hip check on the boards. And I remember being in my seat watching that, like, really? Come on. And then the next day they released a notification with the fine, kind of like, Paros thinking, I haven't punished a Leaf in a while. Let's do this.
This is hip checking.
But yeah. To also just want to quickly say happy birthday, Anthony Stolarz.
Oh,
get well
happy
soon.
Birthday. How old is he?
And also, he is 31.
31. I was going to say, because he was from Rielly's draft, so he's probably same age as me. Look at that.
Yep. And Curtis from Alberta was actually in the stands as well with Mitch Marner's grandma. There was a little meetup earlier. Yep. Downtown Toronto. I missed that one. I got caught up with work today, but he took grandma to the game and he was sitting right behind where the Leafs shot twice behind the net there. So they panned him a couple of times during the broadcast, and that was really nice to see. And his birthday was yesterday.
Love it. Well, happy birthday. So let's talk this game tonight. I didn't catch this one, but you did. So you're going to tell it to me like I'm a new fan and get me so excited for this. So I watched the highlights of all the goals here, so a little spoilers. But Austin Matthews opening it up 4 minutes in. Leading up to this, how were the Leafs out of the gate? Are we slow start? Is it like, we're ready for a goal? Or like what's the vibe?
The vibe was Leafs actually shooting the puck and being higher on the shot counter than our opponent. And it's
within
really nice.
The first 4 minutes, unbelievable.
Honestly, even at the end of the first period, Toronto was up 11-6 on the shot clock. But
Damn.
Yes, within the first 4 minutes, oh my God. First, we have John Cooper trying to match up his Kucherov line with our Holmberg, Nylander and McMahon line. And then Berube was like, sorry, you're going to be facing our Matthews line because you can't pull those kinds of moves on us. Anyways, Matthews, what a breakaway. I mean, Nylander has been known for the breakaways lately, but this was just a full team play. OEL collecting the puck behind wall. Nice pass down to the red line, finding Nyes, who just gently bumps it towards Matthews going full speed down the slot and completely fools Johansson. Nice shot straight in.
Nyes was like one of those pinball things, when it hits a certain spot and something just comes out of the wall and smacks the ball. It's one of those. Just sent it to the corner. He's like, just immediately sent it. Well, give and go, soccer style. That was awesome.
Yeah, I wish I had the speed on Matthews there because he was just zooming down the ice. He had a mission and he accomplished. Like this was nice, especially the first 4 minutes of the game, and that just gets you going. Like we're facing the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're first on the board. The Leafs are 17-4-1 after scoring the first goal this year. I mean, good vibes all around.
I wish this edge goal visualizer thing on NHL.com showed you the speed of the shot and like the speed of the players instead of just like, I don't know, a top down of numbers. Because like I thought the whole NHL edge thing was, here's all the stats behind the play and it was speed and stuff. I don't know. I think they're still working on it, but come on. Don't be like the NHL games and take things away and then put them back and say it's a new feature. We remember what was there before.
We never forget as Leaf fans.
Never.
But this first period, though, honestly, the Leafs kind of, they put the pedal to the metal. I thought they played a really well cohesive game. The second line had a great opportunity after a Hedman shot was blocked by McMahon, leading to a 2-on-1 with Nylander. Puck off the pad, no one there for a rebound, but it was so nice to see McMahon also trying to cheat his way through that 5-hole like Matthews did, taking notes, like trying to see where this puck will go. And too bad it didn't go in, but I mean, it just led to other plays such as Domi backhand pass to Minton and other guys having opportunities where they haven't in, recent games, kind of like Camp, especially guys like Domi. I wish this guy would shoot more, of course, but I mean, tonight we welcome back Fraser Minton after not being with us since, I believe it was December 14th.
But you got to call him Fresh Mint, right?
Fresh Mint, yeah. I thought he had a pretty good game tonight, to be honest, even though he was a -1. But hey, he's going to have his time to shine, and he's looking pretty good as a third-line center, and I'm so happy when Domi does not play center. I mean, the guy is too much of a defensive liability in my mind, and this guy needs to be put on wing.
Yeah, and there was a time when he was like known for being good on the dot, but I don't know. I think he's gotten too in his head with how his production's fallen off. I think it goes with his confidence, right? Like when he's having a really good year, it translates to him being good at faceoffs. But lately, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking at the numbers. I may be completely talking out of my ass, but Domi, face-off, stats. Let's see what he's at. Max Domi. Okay, I'm on Fox Sports. How accurate do we think this is?
Oh my God. Why do you have to choose the worst one?
Because it's the first one that comes up.
Of course.
Win percentage.
A few Trump.
Yeah, no, I'm not crazy. So with the Blackhawks in 23, he took 828 faceoffs and was 53.7%. The next year, or sorry, the same year with the Dallas Stars, he took another 122 and was 53.3%. So that was him playing center for 80 games on the season. Okay.
Not too shabby at all.
Exactly. Last year, he was down to only 450 taken on the season. So that's him not playing center full time. He was 50% on the dot. This year, he's taken 340 and he is 46% on the dot. So I think it's a consistency thing. Like, if they're not going to stick him to it, don't do it. You know, if you're not going to play him center the whole season, it's tough. Like, yes, he's on paper versatile and can play all of them, but I don't know. I think he's, like you said, he's just becoming a bit of a liability at center.
For what it matters tonight, anyways, he won all 100% of his face-offs. But I mean, Fraser
good for him. So I am talking out of my ass.
Well, you know, Fraser Minten did center that third line, so I don't know exactly how many face-offs Domi took. And Fraser was 50-50 on the dot, so not too shabby at all. And the guys only averaged about 11 minutes and 20 seconds for that line. So they didn't get a lot of playing time tonight. Even the fourth line, they weren't out there that long. Dewar had 5:10, Laurent 8:28, and Robertson 10:45. So tonight was mostly the first and second line dominating. And yeah, hopefully with time, we'll see, you know, Fraser Minten having the more opportunities. Because, you know, I love to see him. I love to see him up. And it's nice to have a new face out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were talking about rotating guys in and out, and it's always nice to give the opportunities when you can. And, you know, like we said, Reeves and Pacioretty can't be playing every night. They're both fighting, you know, lifelong injuries at this point, unfortunately, for the two of them. And who was the other one they pulled out? Oh, Myers.
Myers actually allegedly was injured last game, and he sat out tonight again. I don't know exactly what happened there, but also Pacioretty is listed day to day. So
That's what I mean. They're always fighting something. Like he's permanently injured. So it's like, you too sore today? Okay, so he's day to day.
Honestly. But Benoit, you know, the guy's pissed too, because he was asked about sitting out against his hometown, Montreal, and he said, like, it wasn't personal. It's part of the game. I'm more angry at myself. Obviously, not being in the lineup pisses me off, but I have to be better, and it's on me. It's all about the team. And like from the bottom six to D-core, everyone's fighting for a spot. So if someone slips up somewhere, somehow, we have guys waiting. And tonight we also had Timmins in the lineup, paired with Benoit. So Rielly had a new partner tonight as well. And speaking of Rielly, he skated in his 39th game as a Leaf, moving past Ron Stewart for the 10th most games played in franchise history.
Good for Oregon. Love that.
Yeah. He had a good game.
I'm glad, because he needed it. I think we'll talk about it after the comments from Berube, but yeah, he needed it. He needed to have a good game. So second period here, we got William Nylander making it 2-0 with a breakaway goal, and this guy has just become the most consistent breakaway scorer I've ever seen. Because honestly, like, how many times do you see people get in, you're like, oh, it's good. Oh, they choked. Right. I have never seen somebody so confident every time. And like, I think, again, it comes down to, you get one and then you get the second one, and then it's, okay, I'm good at this. And then you don't hesitate. Like, it comes from hesitating, right? Like whenever you see some random defenseman or fourth or third liner that never gets this opportunity to get it, you're like, okay, whatever. Unless it's like Bobby McMahon all of a sudden.
Right.
But for the most part, you're not expecting much unless it's a top line guy. And even then, they're only scoring maybe 20% of the time, 25, 30. But Nylander's been like 80%. It's crazy. Do not leave this guy alone.
Honestly, I'm So
Watch
glad
this
he can
man. Don't
follow
leave
it
him
up.
alone with your goalies.
No, I'm so glad he can follow up his cocky attitude towards the media or his nonchalant kind of demeanor, because he's the one who said, right, like, what's the big deal? And okay, what is the big deal? Let us see. But this guy came back and with his 4th goal in 3 games since then, and damn, this was a nice goal. I mean, Camp wins the draw versus Rielly. Leafs bring it around the goal. Then Kucherov has it briefly, but Rielly was like, yoink, no way, thank you very much. Passes it up to Nylander's center ice, zooming down the slot all alone. Easy. Looks way too easy for him. And I love to see it, because when we're speaking about, previous Leafs and breakaways, it just reminds me of our previous 4th line guys, kind of like Colin Blackwell or other guys who had hands of stone. Like, they always had these opportunities, but
Pierre Engvall,
never
Ilya
score.
Mikheyev.
My
like,
God.
and then there's another one, even now. Last year, who was it that was always doing that I was calling like the new Mikheyev? Oh my God. Anyway, there was someone, well, I mean, it was Bertuzzi for a long time, but then somebody, I don't know, there was someone else I'm forgetting, but yeah, there's always somebody on the bottom there that just like can have every opportunity in the world, but you forget that even when it comes to the best hockey players, like, it comes down to the person and not the skill at that point. If you can keep yourself calm and confident, and Nylander's able to do it in every one of those situations, so it's great.
Absolutely. And now he has the sole possession of 2nd overall in the league with goals, because remember our combo last game, he was tied with Braden Point and company. There was another guy, right?
No, Reinhardt.
No, Reinhardt. Anyways, Biener had all of those questions correct. And yes, but love to see it all day long. Actually, I just watched this little clip. I don't know if you saw this reel on Instagram, Roscoe, where Nylander is shirtless, sitting with his dog, and he's just like, I love dogs. I love them because no matter if you have a shit game or a good game, I come home at the end of the day and it's time for a walk. And he's just happy to see me. And I'm just like, of course you do. And he actually says, if I have a shit game or a good game. So I'm like, you go, girl.
He at least acknowledges it. He's aware of when he has a bad game. That's important.
Exactly.
Moving on, though. Again, less than 3 minutes. Well, no, less than 3 minutes later, almost 2 minutes later to the dot, like we had in the last game. Mr. Nick Paul, who for some reason makes it part of his contract. He promises that he will score every time you play the Leafs if you sign him. Do not understand it. This guy has like had a vendetta against the Leafs forever. Whether he came from Ottawa, right, where he used to be just a Leaf killer, and then it was the playoffs in Tampa, and then it was the playoffs in Tampa again, and through the regular season again, and now it's this. Why? What you got against us?
Right, certified Leaf killer through and through, no matter where he plays. And I called it, our first game I went to this year. I believe the second game he didn't play. He was out on injury. And of course, the third game this year, he scores ×2. And damn, like, I do have to credit Radish for a nice shot and Paul just being right at Joe Wall's foot to tip it right in. And it hurts. Like, it's like, and you can't even pick up this guy in fantasy unless you're in like an 18-team league where that's super deep, because he's not consistent. Like, he might be bounce around from the third and second line, but it's just like when he faces the Leafs, he plays like a top 20 player in the NHL. Any other time, it's like, who the fuck is Nick Paul? So
I want to see his stats versus the Leafs here. Nick Paul,
please let us know.
Stats versus the Leafs. Oh my God, StatMuse is so hard to read sometimes. I don't like looking at this. This is like all time. Oh my God, I just want totals. This is literally every single game ever. Okay, so total in 25 games against the Leafs, he's got 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points.
No way.
That's
more like
it?
17.
So it even counts 2 tonight. He has scored 5 goals in his last 4 games against the Leafs. 2 tonight, 1 in each of the last 3 before that. So that's why we feel this way.
Oh.
Before that, he had not... Does this not count? Those... Yeah, because those ones are postseason. Okay, so it was 2 this season, and then the other ones are from April 17th. That's probably round 1. Yeah. So it's weird. It feels like he had so many more, but he only has 7 goals, and 5 of them have been in the last, 12 months. But whatever.
Okay.
Recent Leaf killer.
Yeah, recent Leaf killer that just forever is imprinted in our minds. And guys, you have to listen to me on that Apples and Geno's Discord. There's a betting channel, and I always tell you, take Nick Paul as a goal scorer. You're gonna win big bucks. And what happened tonight? Of course, he got 1, but
You got 2.
2. Ugh, 2. Oh, we got.
Guy comes into tonight with 11 goals, and ends the night with 13. This is what I mean. It's it's insane.
But I got to give Tampa credit here in the second period. They really did push back. I mean, Cooper must have slapped them all across the face in the first intermission and was like, you know what? Got to do something about this, because they ended the period 12-8 in shots. And, I was a little worried there when our lead was cut in half and Nick Paul scores. You're like, oh, no, those demons set in. But, you have less than 4 minutes left in the period, 3 minutes left. And you're like, what's going to happen now? Are the Leafs going to loosen up? But
I mean, at that point, it can go, because at that point, it can go either way, right? If Tampa ties it up at the end of the period, it's like, okay, this game's completely reset into the second. It's anyone's game at this point.
Right, exactly. And I'm so glad, this top line has been clicking, because in comparison to, our top line against the Canes game a couple weeks ago, Marner, Matthews, and Nyes were combined a -17 that night. But tonight, they were clicking. They seemed like they had, all the chemistry in the works. And damn, this was such a nice play by Matthews coming through the neutral zone and just back and forth with Nyes there. Matthews brings it into the Tampa zone. He gets stick checked, but Marner recovers by slapping this puck to keep it in, going straight to Matthew Nyes near the net as he tries to find some open ice. Catches it on his backhand, forehand, right over the left pad. I'm like, Yes! Oh my God, what a sweet play.
Yeah, Nyes is really turning into quite the power forward there, eh?
Oh, hell yeah. With 22.3 seconds left in the period, this really gets you off your seat. And of course, Matthew Nyes, he has the best record against Tampa as well. And before that, or including that goal, he has 6 goals, 11 points in 8 career games against Tampa. And damn, it's just been incredible to watch. This guy kind of mature his way into this league, playing alongside Matthews and Marner. And on that play too, Matthews actually passed Dave Keon for possession of third on all-time Maple Leafs record for a multi-point game. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Lots of records breaking tonight, yeah.
I want to check the assist leaders, see where Marner's... Oh, Marner's in second to Nate McKinnon, who has 56.
Yes.
That's crazy.
He's also second in 30 with 33 primary assists, and Nathan McKinnon, of course, leads the way there. Wowie! Yeah. Oh my God, Leafs
only
winning.
Ones with over 50 though.
Yeah, literally. Marner. I mean, as much as people shit on him, this guy. I don't know how you can have the trade Marner conversation. He's too valuable, in my opinion. He's all over the place. I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, he played 22-13 tonight. He plays just as much as a defenseman, right?
It's still the regular season. That's the argument that people have, is we'll see how he does when we get to the playoffs, because that's been everyone's gripe. That's why the trade Marner conversation finally started, was because people were actually willing to give up all of this in the regular season if it means having somebody a little worse that will be that same level after the 82 games. That's the thing. but we'll see. He still has this season to prove a lot of people wrong. So
I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe since 2017 or 18, Marner actually leads the team in playoff points, whether it's for our first or second in assists or in total points. But yeah, everyone, I guess it's for the eye test, right? Or when we need those superstars to show up in the playoff moments, they kind of forget that Marner is completely valuable in all situations, whether it's PK, PP, in the neutral zone, or literally quarterbacking the PowerPoint or the power play at this point, right? It's just, we'll see. I mean, this is a different team. I mean, we say that every year, but I really believe that there's a different identity and narrative with this team under Berube.
yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. I'm just looking at Marner and Matthews' playoff stats. So Marner's played 57 playoff games. He's a plus 10 and has 50 points, 11 goals, 39 assists. Austin Matthews has 23 goals, 25 assists, and a plus-minus of +2 in 55 playoff games. So what's that, 48? Now, they're about even. So to say that Mitch doesn't show up in the playoffs technically is not fair if you're not going to throw Austin into the same conversation. I think the issue is the 11 goals in 57 playoff games.
And you know what? I mean, we have seen Marner's potential when Matthews is not on the ice. When Matthews is injured, this guy has been ripping pucks, and I'm so glad to see him get that empty netter tonight. But of course, my wish list every year is Marner to shoot the puck more because we know he has an incredible shot. And honestly, tonight on the Leafs power play goal, this is what grants Nyes' goal there is from a Marner point shot, which led to the big rebound with Nyes in front to just scoop that puck up past Johansson. So hopefully they can generate this momentum and keep it moving forward.
Yeah, and it's nice to get a power play goal and also go 100% on the power play because that's always nice as far as stats go because it boosts that overall. It's like a little freebie.
Of course.
Weird that they only got one power play the whole game.
Isn't it? I mean,
yeah. Tampa only got 2, so it's not like there was much, but it's weird that in a game between these two, it's usually quite violent.
And they all came in the third period.
Interesting.
So, yeah, going into the third, of course, Holmberg hooks point, which is the first of the game. It was just unlucky, honestly. Holmberg got caught up in between points like stick, and it was just I don't know. It was going to get called all day long, but at the same time, on this shorthanded opportunity, Matthews actually attempted the Michigan. And
what?
Yes. And Johansson, being 6'5", of course, just pinned himself right to the corner. That puck was definitely not going in, but this was a solid attempt. And I got to give a little clap to Matthews for trying there because, we never see our Leafs try to.
Yeah, and for Amazon Prime night, it's nice because you know that there's people watching that might not normally be watching because it's easier to. So give them something fun. The other thing on that I was going to say is maybe they have asked them to call less penalties on Monday nights when it's on Prime. I don't know.
Honestly, yeah, there was a lot going uncalled, and of course, starting the third period, Tampa couldn't score, but hometown boy Radish scores because Tampa wins the faceoff. Hedman to Radish on the other point, and that shot just went straight through Tanev and Matthews, straight in over 100-mile-per-hour shot. So kudos to you. I'm sure you had a lot of friends and family in the stands, as many other players in the NHL do when visiting Toronto. I mean, everyone tries to put on their best efforts when facing the Leafs. So, yeah.
Nick Paul's from Mississauga, too.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So all 3 goals that the Lightning got tonight were from guys born within, I don't know, half an hour of the arena.
Of course. Boy, oh boy.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, but hey, I'm just glad the Leafs converted on their only power play opportunity. And this one, Holmberg actually took one for the team here, crashing into the boards after getting tripped by Lilleberg. And he was really slow to get up, actually. The refs had to blow the whistle there. And they showed it on the replay. It was a 2-on-1 with Rielly and Holmberg. Good chance, but hey, we'll take the power play opportunity, which, of course, the Knies power play goal came in. And damn, Marner's shot here. I'm so glad, the first attempt, I believe he waited a little too long and the Leafs had to recoup and reset. But when he had that second opportunity, he just shot it. This time it did not go off Knies. It went off a pad and Knies was right there to scoop up the rebound. So that was nice. And McMahon also got the secondary assist on that power play.
Hell yeah. You want to know a really weird stat about the goals tonight?
Yes.
So there were 8 goals scored between the two teams. And only one, William Nylander, was not born in, is not from either Toronto or Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow. That's actually wow. Oh, you're absolutely right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. All GTA boys.
Technically Matthews is from California, but I'll call it Arizona for the sake of grouping him with Knies.
Yeah.
So yeah, the two of them are from Arizona, and then the other, Marner, Radish, Paul, are all from Toronto, and Nylander's from Calgary. So that's a really weird thing. I mean, obviously a lot of them are Canadian in the NHL, but
yeah.
I mean, for the only two people that aren't Canadian to be both from Arizona is also weird.
Very.
I don't know, just strange.
Huh.
Anyway.
Well, good eye. Well,
thank you.
You're welcome. But the things that make the biggest difference for these teams, especially coming into the playoffs in a few months, it is the power play and the ability to kill penalties. And tonight we saw the reason why Tampa leads the league in goals scored for, because they're able to convert on their power play unit. And we see that again when Camp trips off Gutzel. I can always forget this guy's on the team, it's just so weird not seeing him in or
as a Penguin,
yellow and black. Yeah, as a Pen. So weird. Joseph Wall, legs straight up, just in all kinds of positions, no angeling. And of course, who's on the doorstep? Nick Paul, tipping it in straight past Wall, no stick in hand. Hedman and Hagel on the assist there. And it's just one of those plays where you're like, you got to be careful not take the penalty, because these kinds of teams will convert and they'll make you pay.
Yeah, I just did the quick maths on what the average for the Lightning is this season. So 45 games played, 165 goals for. That's 3.666, repeating, of course. If you know, you know. So 3.6, you round it up, let's call it 3.75 goals per game. So keeping them to 3, it's below their average. That's a W. It's the way to beat them.
That is a W.
We'll call that a victory, keeping them under their average and beating them with 5, because what do they average against per game? Let's do the other side of that. That's on 128 goals against.
They are 10th overall.
2.84. So basically doubled their average goals against, kept them under their goals for. So good job, Leafs. Good job.
Yep.
Crushing the Demons. And that does it. Final score is 5-3 with an empty netter from Marner for his 15th, unassisted. He's always good for those.
Love to see it. I mean, it was a back and forth game with Johansson being pulled and then going back because the Lightning had to take the face off in their own zone, and then, getting pulled again and going back. I mean, John Cooper, after that goal, he pulled him again with, I think, 50 odd seconds left, and they weren't able to convert. I mean, Bobby McMahon, though, almost scoring that 6th goal for the Leafs. Oh my God, that almost went in. And but it's okay. Kemp also had a nice backhanded opportunity, and Nylander just couldn't pull it around Johansson's pad at the end there. But Leafs, they were buzzing. We're 4 on Prime, so love to see it all day long. And yeah, too bad that Knies couldn't get his hattie, but I mean, he scored his first hattie against Boston on January 4th of this year, so I'm sure we will see more of that in the future.
Oh, I'm sure. All right, so with that wrapped up, we got about 20 minutes left here. Let's talk about Morgan Rielly. So we talked a little last episode, but it's kind of I don't want to call him the whipping boy, but it's the news cycle right now. So you have the quote there from Berube. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, Berube on Rielly, because obviously he's under the microscope right now. And I mean, every year there's someone the fans seem to pick on, whether it's from the eye test or the stats on paper. But when asked from the media, he just said, with the way that the new staff wants him to play to become a better defensive hockey team, we've asked less risk in his game. He's done that the most part. We also need him to produce offensively. You'll see his go up. So just, insinuating that the offense is coming, just telling him to tone it down, don't get too fancy, just play simple hockey and probably shoot the puck more, right? And tonight, I feel like Rielly took a step up. I mean, he had a couple great opportunities. Some didn't hit the net. He had one recorded shot on paper, but he did come out with an apple that was feeding William Nylander's goal there. And he looked like his old self, honestly, playing 20-45 tonight. I mean, he's not on the power play anymore, but Morgan Rielly seemed like he was making a difference. He's not a minus. He was even. And I love to see it because, just bias coming in, Rielly he's a Leaf through and through and through. And I hope he retires a Leaf, even if, things go downhill. But hey, we know he has the ability, and I hope things get better for him because we obviously have others who can also help this team out as well. And while we're not purely focusing on Rielly.
Yeah, and I mean, dude's got 40 points in 57 playoff games, and he's a plus 14. So, it's not like he's not there. Been seasons in the playoffs where he's like actually unbelievable. I mean, what was that? 22-23, 11 games. He had 4 goals, 8 assists. He was a plus 11, scoring important goals too. Year before that, he had 3 goals. So, I mean, like, it's worth mentioning that this play is a little unusual for him, and I'm glad that Berube pointed out, like, we've asked him to take less risks and change up his game. And, like, I don't know, I feel like I have a bit of a gripe with that because the guy's been here for 13 years now. He's had an A on his jersey for a while. Why try to change up how he plays when you've got all these new defensemen that fit that mold? Like, I understand you've got a system going, but like, why alter it in a way that's going to negatively impact the player? And if he's not fitting into it, you can't just say like, oh, well, he'll get there. It's like, well, no, he's shown for 10 seasons, 12 seasons what he's capable of in different situations. And like, why take those away from him? Why take away his power play minutes, and why take away the chance to be a puck moving offensive defenseman that he is? He's played with the same guys like Nylander and Matthews and Marner. Like, why switch that up? And I don't know, I understand it and I don't, I guess.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Like, there's tons of competition through the lineup, but he did sign that big deal for a reason. He, pretty much took a pay cut to stay in Toronto because I'm sure he would have been offered way more elsewhere at the time. And he's been through it. I mean, he's seen the shittiest ends of the sticks with the Leafs. I mean, we've been through the Jake Gardiner days. We've been with Dion Phaneuf. Like, we've seen it all with Rielly pretty much with over a decade ago. And yeah, I will always cut him some slack. But man, when he shoots the puck and he gets up in the play and creates more ice for himself, he does wonders. I mean, he has a great vision. He's able to yoink that puck with amazing takeaways like we've seen tonight off Kucherov. It's just a matter of consistency, and hopefully that dad power just hones in and he can activate that, and we can see that prime Rielly come through for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I just pulled up a list of people he played with. Like, he played 735 minutes with Matt Hunwick, 324 with Martin Marincin, 117 with Roman Polak. Oh God. Like, yeah. Anyway, I do think that, look, yes, he definitely took a bit of a discount because there were defensemen signing for $9.5 million when he signed his. We all thought that was a bit of a steal at 7.5. We were all shocked. But now I think it's made sense. I think both sides were realistic about it, which is lucky for us for a change. Jesus. But this is where it gets tough. Like, he's playing at about a $7.5 million defenseman level right now, I'd say. And well, maybe a little less at the current moment, but like, I'd say overall lately he's been playing about that level. So if he can just be at least that, then I don't think anyone would really complain. It's the fact that his number is a little lower, that he hasn't gotten more heat until like the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why it's held off, I think. But we're here. The team's doing well. It's easy for him to take the time to recoup and reset, figure out what his role is and how he's going to be productive in it. But I don't know, to go back to what I said, I think it also comes down to Berube at some point realizing that he's got to pull the cord on this and put him back in a position that's going to benefit him, because it's not doing him any favors to do something he's not good at. And it's not doing the team any favors either. So
yeah,
we
definitely.
shall see.
We shall see, but always rooting for Morgan Rielly. I mean, man, he's okay. Like, Morgan, I don't know how else to put it. Like, he's gonna retire a Leaf, and I really hope so. So, even if he plays on that second power play unit, we'll see. But for now, the 5 forward power play unit has been clicking. I mean, they scored 4 power play goals in the last, or 6 power play goals in the last 4 games. So that's always good news. And whatever's working in the moment, I mean, go with it. But at the same time, I would like to see Rielly get some shifts. If, he's feeling it, if he feels like he wants extra shifts that night, I would give it to him. Like, kind of listen to your players kind of deal, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, like, the time on ice tonight, he was 4th among defensemen, less than Ekman Larson, McCabe, and Tanev by 3-4 minutes. I mean, it's weird seeing that little of him. I like that they can spread those minutes out instead of him playing like 28, 27 minutes and the rest of the guys playing like 16. But
yeah,
at the same time, you got to let him be Morgan Rielly at the end of the day.
Let him be.
So what's it? Tanev had 5 more shifts than him. McCabe had 3 more, and so did Ekman Larson. So I guess that's just kind of the power play and some other stitches at that point. Yeah,
for sure.
But it all comes together. See. So,
how many players actually have played by his side? Did that list tell you a running count?
No, I couldn't find that. You'd have to pretty much put together like most of the defensemen since 2012 on the Leafs, which is insane. But
never mind.
There's been a lot.
Because that would have been wild to know.
There's been a lot.
A lot. Triple
Just looking at the standings real quick. The Atlantic, obviously we talked about the Leafs are at the top. Panthers and Lightning. Florida, man, the 2 Florida teams are always good. Do you know who's in 4th place?
Would that be the Ottawa Senators?
That would be the Ottawa Senators. What is happening? They are 5-3-2 in their last 10. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They are ahead of the Bruins. They're tied in points, but they've got 2 games in hand on them. They're about tied in goals for with the Bruins, just 1 less, but they have a significantly better differential. They're 5 plus 5. The Bruins are minus 20. So I guess the real question is Allmark better than Swayman?
Allmark has been injured, and they're relying on that rookie guy.
Oh, yeah, they got
right now.
What's his name?
Or actually last game when they won 2-1 against the Devils, it was Anton Forsberg in net. But we have that other guy, Levi Merlanen.
Merlanen. Yeah, and he was in net for their 6-5 shootout win over the Bruins. Isn't that crazy?
But yeah, honestly, the team is filled with superstars. They've been talking for years about breaking out. I mean, preseason scouting, everyone had them going to the playoffs until they kind of busted after Christmas time. But I feel like this year might be the year, Brady Tkachuk leading the way on that team, and, Drake Batherson actually producing offensively after having a couple down years. I think he's second on the team in points right now.
Oh, love that.
Also, Tim Stützle leading in points on that team. It isn't even Brady Tkachuk. So fantasy players obviously loving that right now, being a late round draft pick. And yeah, this team with Jake Sanderson kind of, pairing up side by side, not, this team not relying so much on who was the other.
Did you say Tim Stützle was a late draft pick?
Was he? Was he not?
He was third overall.
No, I mean in fantasy. In fantasy.
Yeah.
A later, well, maybe mid-round, depending on your league. But yeah, the pressure's not all on Chabot anymore. You have Jake Sanderson running that power play, and he has so much offensive upside that, this team's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. They're kind of fluky sometimes, but they're shutting out teams. They've recorded more shutouts since Christmas than any other team, I believe. And yeah, they're fantasy valuable right now. So love to see it, honestly. It's nice to have that Ottawa and Toronto matchup too that, we fail to see. And also it'd be nice to have a break from a team like Tampa or Boston in the playoffs. Like if we can get a wild card opponent such as Ottawa, how entertaining would that be?
You know what's hilarious? Right now, we would play Ottawa. Washington would play Boston because they're in first. Boston's in the second wildcard spot, and the Leafs would play Ottawa in the first round. Are you shitting me?
Right.
After all this time. Can you believe that? After having them play Boston and Tampa back and forth all these years, we get the Ottawa Senators, and I probably wouldn't go to a game. It's like $700. But I could celebrate in the face of Sens fans. How fun would that be?
So nice, honestly.
And if the Leafs lose in the first round, I have to move. Because I will literally never hear the end of it. Because not only am I a Leaf fan in Ottawa, I am a vocal Leaf fan in Ottawa because the Sens have been shit the whole time I've lived here for 10 years. So this is, well, except for 2017. So basically since then they've been bad. This is going to be not good for me. If we lose to Ottawa in the first round, I might actually just have to up and move. Or just tear all of this down and hide and be secretive about it, pretend I don't watch hockey anymore. And I don't know,
it's
already bad enough.
Come on, move to Toronto. Then we can do this in person and then actually go to Leaf games. Why do you want to be in Ottawa? No offense, Ottawa people.
More affordable, and I have a job here.
But if they go far in the playoffs,
barely more affordable.
Imagine how much the economy will boost because of this.
Oh, they'll finally everything about the new arena in Ottawa would get rushed through. If they went on a playoff run, even just past a round, it would reignite Sens fandom across the city, and they would all of those people would start calling their counselors. They'd be like, "What's going on with the thing?" All the counselors would be like, "Guys, what's going on with this? Everyone's fucking calling me about this arena. Are we doing it or aren't we? People are tired of sitting in traffic for 2 hours to get to and from the game. We got to do this," and then it would just happen.
Yeah. But speaking of standings in our Atlantic Division, it's quite surprising to see that the Rangers are not in a wild card spot and they are behind Montreal and Columbus with 48.
My God, what? Holy, I have not looked at this in a long time. Columbus is right behind Boston. How are they? I'm so proud of them. They had no business doing this. What was Numbnuts in the preseason who said that they were going to come in dead last and it was going to be the blessing from Gaudreau that they get to come in last place and get the first overall pick? Shut up. I remember who it is and I'm not even saying their name. But good for the Columbus Blue Jackets for rallying what everyone would have given them a pass for a write-off year and staying in this. They're only a point out of a wild card spot.
Yeah, literally, Sean Monahan coming to Columbus really rejuvenated his career,
No
and
kidding.
I'm happy to see it because the guy has 41 points in 41 games. Zach Werenski also being the number one defender in fantasy as well, leading the way with 51 points in 47 games, kind of like the
Oh,
next Bouchard there. And Kirill Marchenko, a guy who kind of averages between 35 and 45 points a year. This guy is on pace for being a 85-point player with
cool.
50 points in 47 games. So this whole lineup, I feel, has, they just have their own kind of amulet, number 13. And I love to see it all day long. And I will be at that next game on Wednesday. So, part of me is kind of scared. Like going to the Tampa game, I didn't have much worry. I mean, they are evil to us, but this Columbus game, I mean, we usually play down to our opponent, but our opponent this time around is doing pretty freaking well. So
interesting stat though on Columbus. They're 16-5-3 at home. They are 6-13-4 on the road. They are not good away from Columbus, so you might be fine.
Our boy Zach Aston Reese, former Leaf, is a Columbus Blue Jacket.
Isn't he also a Toronto boy?
I believe so. And our other boy, JVR, James Van Riemsdyk, good old green mouth guard. All I can think of is that chew toy, like a dog, sticking out of his mouth. But anyways,
the Kachucks do that too.
Yes. But yeah, the Atlantic is crazy, man. Like Pittsburgh Penguins, 8th.
Buffalo's in last in the East.
The Islanders,
okay,
9th.
Actually, real quick, before we skedaddle here, you did mention third from the bottom of the East is the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is not what Kyle Dubas was brought in to do. This is not what Kyle Dubas was stolen away from the Leafs in a very unceremonious way to do. He was not given president of hockey ops and allowed to be his own GM after an interview process and Dick Cheneying himself into the job to do this. This is brutal. And like, there were some contracts that were a little questionable right when he took the job and started, he signed like a shit ton of people in like a week. There were some that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and one of them was that Ryan Graves contract. And you guys were like, nah. It's not that bad. He's good. He's horrible this year. So in 33 games, he has 0 goals, 0 assists, 23 penalty minutes, -8.
Not good.
That's not good.
Not good at all.
And he is signed to a 6-year, $4.5 million a year contract until 2029. Like, that's like, if he's league min, you're sending that player down to the minors. Like, they waived their starting goaltender.
Yeah.
Like, this team is in shambles, and I'm sorry, but Dubas, his method works in a vacuum, and that vacuum has to be an Austin Matthews brand, Like,
honestly,
I feel like he studied one thing for so long that it's one of those like perfect storm things where he got to put his people that had been together for a long time with the Greyhounds and the Marlies and then the Leafs. Like, he got to put his little core together. Everything worked out in his favor. I don't think that plan translated over into Pittsburgh. Pittsburghese. Penguinese. He needed to rethink things because it seems like he tried to do the same thing. Like, I mean, he literally brought the same guys over. We've got Michael Bunting. We've got Nola Chari. Didn't you have a list? Who else we got?
Actually, my list is since 2021. All of the former Leaf players who are now Oilers. There are 12 players.
Oilers. That's funny. But so I mean, like, he brings in Bunting and Achari basically immediately to try to put his little favorites back together. Like, look, when you have Crosby and Malkin and you make the decision to keep them both around, you have to surround them with guaranteed hits. You can't bring in these supporting guys that work as like, hey, if you're missing this one thing, these guys are really great to bring that one thing. That's what the Leafs needed them for, both of them. The Leafs were missing somebody
Yeah.
that could go and bang into corners and not be the superstar guy and just work for it and send it out to those guys. That was Bunting. And then you had Achari, like, bringing some grit. I mean, it's the same thing, but in a bottom six role. And that's
Right.
what those two things what the Leafs were missing. Pittsburgh needed to bring in some serious firepower to put around those guys. And they blew all the money on Erik Karlsson.
Yes.
And then another, like I said, 4.5 on Graves. So that's like $15 million on those two defensemen, when you really should have been supporting two aging forwards with faster guys that are going to support them and keep them relevant as they're getting danced around by other guys. Like, they're still very talented, but like they're getting old. It's not a secret.
Yeah, I think they are the oldest team in the league. And, it's nice to see Sid still going on his pace of, he's a point per player guy. He has 49 points in 48 games. Second on the team, Raquel, Anaheim superstar, or mid, I guess, came and kind of saved the day this year anyways, because his stats haven't always been this great. This year, he's 40 points in 48 games. And of course, supporting role, Brian Rust, who's another older guy. They also brought in guys like Kevin Hayes and then Jesse Pool Party and Cody Glass. But, it's just kind of mid. And Erik Karlsson actually said to media yesterday that he's open to be traded if that's what management wants. The team's
they said they're willing to retain on it if they have to get rid of him at this point.
Right. And even with Tristan Jarry, this guy has allowed... Buried because this guy has allowed a goal within the first 5 shots of the game in 17 of 22 games this year.
What the hell?
Yeah. And
oh no,
it just makes you wonder, like, they made those decisions of keeping certain goaltenders around at the time, and then look at how they're doing now. Like, I mean, Matt Murray alone just coming off 2 AHL shutouts. I mean, I know it's AHL, but I'm so glad to see him remerging himself into, pro hockey and doing very well, and hopefully coming up to the NHL in the future again. I guess their saving grace is Nedeljkovic, who is the... Ned.
Yeah, him.
Who is the only goalie ever to score a goal and an assist in the league, apparently.
I find that insane.
Yeah, it doesn't seem real. You would think that has happened in the past, but no.
Yeah, I can't believe Brodeur never pulled that off.
Right? But Ryan Graves, I mean, he looked a little promising coming from the Devils, but they really took a chance on him. And before that, Colorado, and coming from these great teams, but even then, he's only maxed out at 28 points in one season. And that was way back in 21-22.
Exactly. This is what I mean. This team spent so much money. 34% of their cap is on defense, and most of that's just in Erik Karlsson. $6 million on Chris Letang, 4.5 on Graves, 4 on Pettersson, then Grzelcyk, 2 and change, and then whatever, under $1 million for the rest. Then you just did this, like, New York Islanders thing where you spend between $2 and $5 million on all your forwards. And like Sidney Crosby at 8.7 can't be your highest paid forward if you're actually trying to support him. Like, the fact that him and Malkin took discounts wasn't so you could give Erik Karlsson 10 and give them Brian Rust, Rickard Rakell, and Michael Bunting and Kevin Hayes. Like, that is not why they took a discount. And I understand it's all like the guys have to be available. Like, that's Dubas's job. I'm sorry, but that's what you're paid to do. That's why you gave yourself the job of GM. You didn't have to take this on. You could have hired somebody that was willing to use their experience doing something like this, because Dubas has been with one team, and that's the Leafs, where it's an up-and-coming thing, where it's just fill in the gaps of what these kids really need to get going. This is the complete opposite. This is guys that are like, we need this right now, and we will help you out. But this is like a now or never thing, and not a now or never Amazon Prime documentary, but we're going to do it 6 times in a row because we're Toronto. And it's always now or never. Like, actually, It's now or we're retiring. Or going somewhere else to do it, right? Like, this was the plan.
You know
So they
who I
needed
feel bad
they
for? Jason Spezza. I don't know if he's still with the
Oh, I
Pens
forgot he's
and that
there.
organization. Yeah, I don't know if he's in the office in some capacity, but at the end of the day, with all of this, negativity and what's happening in Pittsburgh, I feel bad for Jason Spezza because this guy deserved more. And if the Leafs could bring him on in any capacity, I'd be all for it. I mean, why not? It's Jason freaking Spezza. But hey,
Let's see if he's still. Can't see. He's GM of the Wilkes-Barre team.
okay,
Wilkes-Barre
good for
Scranton
him.
Penguins.
Okay, not NHL. So still feel bad for Jason Spezza. And fun fact, I'm actually driving to Pittsburgh the next time the Leafs face the Pens
Oh,
in
no way.
Pittsburgh because it's cheaper to go on a road trip with hotel and tickets in the lower bowl than to see a Leaf game in Toronto.
Pardon
So
me?
we're doing it.
That's insane. That is crazy.
I've never seen the Leafs on the road. So this is the perfect opportunity. It's only a 5-hour drive from Toronto. It's like a drive to Montreal. So we're taking a little roadie and doing that.
Love that for you. I'm thinking to teams like the Predators and the Blackhawks that were able to bring in so many big names. Like, that's what Dubas had to do. Like, if Jonathan Marchessault was available and Steven Stamkos was on the table, Stamkos probably wouldn't have been a good fit for them because it's basically more of the same thing, late 30s guy. But there were people available that you could have gotten that were going to actually make a difference. Like, I don't know, not to say that like Rickard Rakell isn't making a difference there. It's like, I don't know. It's obviously not going well. He didn't spend his money wisely. He got excited over being able to sign Erik Karlsson. And I don't know. I'm just glad I'm not a Penguins fan.
Yeah, same.
Because to have those guys sign back on to be in third last, only above. And you know what? This is a nice thing as an Islanders fan. The only teams that you're in front of, as a Penguins fan, is the Islanders and the Sabres. So teams that you probably dislike quite a bit as a Penguins fan are still beneath you.
Teams you should win against, but you don't.
Like the Red Wings and the Flyers cannot be ahead of you, Pittsburgh. This is so bad.
Yeah. Not looking good. There was actually a post I saw on Instagram this week. It was from a barber who was just making small talk with his client, being like, because they were in Pittsburgh, like, oh, so what do you think of the Pens? How are they doing? And then who's sitting in that chair? Of course, Sidney Crosby. And he had no idea. And he's like, well, we could be doing better, his response. No. And then the guy realized whose hair he was cutting. And what a moment insane. For that guy.
Man, Preds are in the same spot as they are too. Jesus.
They have been doing better as of late.
Yeah, they're in a 3-game win streak.
My fantasy teams need it, as I'm relying on Saros on a lot of them.
Oh, I just have Saros and Marchessault and Stamkos on 3 different teams because I'm dumb. Anyway, but that's not what people need to hear about. Let's wrap it up. We're over an hour here. Thank you all. Anything you want to sign off with here, Steph?
I'm just happy to see our boys go back on their big winning streak. I will be in the building on Wednesday. I'm so happy and excited to be in that lower bowl. We bought tickets for my mom's 60th, so she actually cried when we gave them to her. So I'm very excited, and hopefully the Leafs win against the Blue Jackets and that our road record holds up for them as it suggests. And if you guys go ahead, please do. Otherwise, we should be back very, very soon.
Yeah, otherwise the Leafs don't play again until Saturday, where they're here in Ottawa. So I don't know. I was looking at them, but it's like $200 for 300s, and I'm like, do I want to be all the way in the top for like what is basically like when you factor in? Okay, so there's 2 of us, plus fees, plus food and drinks. Do I want to spend $650 on a Saturday night out? Like, that's kind of fucking crazy.
It is. And even tonight, I just, I'm always curious. Same day game tickets, still $250+ for 300s. last minute sales. So I was like, fuck that. Not doing that. I'll spend my money on Wednesday. But the trick there was, because it's so hard to find a 3-pack, and we ended up buying a 2-pack but beside a solo ticket, because they always go very cheap on Ticketmaster. Yeah. So that ended up working out, and yeah, should be a good game.
Yeah, the cheapest ones on Ticketmaster right now are $199, including fees. I was on StubHub earlier. Most expensive, $780 each for Section 106.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
For a regular season game against Ottawa. Okay, what's it on StubHub? StubHub Canada. Leaps and Sends. 2 tickets. $212 each. Let's go. Best view. $818. Section 116, row D.
You're averaging a $600 night for cheap tickets plus drink and food and whatever else. So yeah, it's definitely not cheap. And
some of these are $930 each. That's crazy.
Yep,
I don't know how people... I don't know why they even bother posting them for that. That's crazy. Crazy. And these are $284 each is considered 10 out of 10 amazing deal. Like, okay.
That's like Yahoo Fantasy telling me that the best deal would be to drop McDavid and pick up fucking like Gudis or something. I'm like, yeah, you're so smart, Analyzer. You're the best.
It's because McDavid's suspended for 3 games.
Where's my guess button? How much salary that equates to?
How much?
Just under $196K.
I hate my life. I wish I hadn't cried when my parents put me on the ice.
I wish I liked falling.
Not that that was the difference between me not being an NHL player, but just that's insanity. 3 games is like $200,000.
Right.
He could buy like a brand new Mazda CX-5 after every game
for fun in every color. And this is USD, so try like...
That's crazy.
Yeah, how much is that? Like $350?
Yeah, well, we'll see after today. Okay, good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back either Wednesday or Saturday.
Good night.
Wednesday? Sorry, it's 12:01, so it says Tuesday. I got so tripped out.
We are so confused. Yeah.
There we go.
Podcast.
What is it?
So, before we sign off, so Joe Bowen took tonight off after 43 years to go see the Notre Dame Fighting Irish with his kids. And Ohio State beats Notre Dame in playoff national championship game. Oh, no. Poor Bonesy. Poor Bonesy.
He's a champ, though. First day off in 43 years. God damn.
Earned it, buddy.
Yeah, earned it.